Hello everybody, Realm Builder Guy here, and welcome back to a new Victoria 3 Dev Diary video here on the channel. It is Dev Diary number 2, entitled Capacities. So that could, really be a lot of different things. Anyway, let me know, as always, your thoughts on these Dev Diaries in the comments below. Likes, comments, views, subs, all welcome so you don't miss out on any future Victoria 3 content or any other content here on the channel. Victoria 3 has really it's been really good for my channel, and the fact is the game's not even out yet. But this talking about a really potentially amazing game has really got me excited, and I can tell by the numbers and the comments and so on that it's got you excited as well. So let's dive into today's Dev Diary. Hello and welcome back to another Victoria 3 Dev Diary. Today we'll be talking about 3 of the 4 of the main currencies, quote, of the game, namely capacities, the last being money, which we'll of course come back to later. We mentioned in the very first Dev Diary that there is no mana in Victoria 3, and since this Dev Diary is about the game's currencies, I want to be clear on what I mean by that. When we say there is no mana, we mean that the resources in Victoria 3 arise and are spent in clearly defined ways that are parts of the simulation, not from an overly abstract concept or vague idea. There is, of course, some degree of abstraction involved. All games are abstractions after all. But we want all the game's currencies to be strongly rooted in the mechanics and not feel arbitrary. All right, that's a winner right there. All right, so capacities. What do they mean by capacities? So, calling them currencies is actually not accurate. Capacities are not a pooled resource and are not accumulated or spent, but instead have a constant generation and a constant usage, similar to, for example, administrative capacity in Stellaris, which is the bane of my existence half the time. In that game. Anyway, and you generally want to keep your usage from exceeding your generation. Each capacity represents one specific area of your nation's ability to govern and is used solely for matters relating to that area. As mentioned, capacities are not accumulated, so excess generation is not pooled, but instead there is an effect for each capacity, which is positive if generation exceeds usage and quite negative if usage exceeds generation. A country that incorporates territories left and right without expanding its bureaucratic core may quickly find itself mired in debt as tax collection collapses under the strain. So yeah, this is definitely like admin cap in Stellaris, where as you kind of grow and you get your empire sprawl and your admin capacity has to grow as your empire grows, you need to do certain things, enhance certain jobs, and put in certain buildings and so on to expand your administrative capacity to deal with the expanse of your new empire. So this sounds basically, it's the same mechanic, it seems. Bureaucracy represents a nation's ability to govern, invest in, and collect taxes from its incorporated territory. It is produced by the Government Administration Building, where many of a nation's bureaucrats will be employed. All of a nation's incorporated states use a base amount of bureaucracy, which increases with the size of their population, and further increased by each institution, such as education or police, more of those later, that a country has invested in. Overall, the purpose of bureaucracy is to ensure that there is a cost to ruling over, taxing, providing for your population. Administrating China should not be cheap. Swedish bureaucracy is currently a bit overworked, and country could certainly benefit from another government administration building or two. So here we've got bureaucracy. It looks like we were talking about Sweden. The balance is minus 53, so that means, I'm assuming, you need more bureaucracy to deal with the expanse. So what does that do? Effects from 21% bureaucracy deficit. So you need to increase your bureaucracy usage is higher than generation, so plus 21.4% tax waste. Wow, that's a lot of tax waste. Your total generation is plus 250 bureaucracy is due to plus 100 base value, plus 150 from government administration in Svealand. Okay. So that looks like diplomacy. Yeah, interesting to see. This is your Bureaucracy. Bureaucracy? Yeah. That's what that looks like. Minus 53, minus 53.6. So I'm going to extrapolate that that's what that means. Okay. Authority. So what else do we have here? Your total usage of minus 303 bureaucracy is due to 5 incorporated states, 2.7 million pops in incorporated states, law enforcement level 1, and education level 3. So you definitely need to bump that stuff up. Authority. Authority represents the head of state's personal power. Okay, so this second icon is authority. Personal power and ability to enact change in the country through decree. It is generated from your laws. Generally, the more repressive and authoritarian the country, the more authority it will generate. Makes sense. And is used by a variety of actions, such as enacting decrees in specific states, interacting with interest groups, and promoting or banning certain types of goods. Overall, the purpose of authority is to create an interesting trade-off between more and less authoritarian societies. By shifting the distribution of power away from the pops into the hands of the ruler, your ability to rule by decree is increased, and vice versa. So the Swedish king has more authority at his disposal than he is currently using, slightly speeding up the rate at which laws are passed. So the balance is plus 165. So 30% excess in authority gives plus 0.75% enactment rate, so the enacting of laws. The authority is due to a base value, oligarchy, national supremacy, freedom of conscience, so these are policies, right of assembly, so laws, policies, and so on, and ruler trait, experienced political operator. So the rulers do have traits again, and that will play into that. The usage, your total usage of minus 550 authority is due to consumption taxes on liquor, road maintenance in Götaland and Svealand. All right, influence. Okay, so this isn't diplomacy, this is influence. Not sure about that icon for that. But anyway, unless they're talking about this influences your diplomatic influence. Well, let's see. So speculating, how about I just read? Influence represents a country's ability to conduct diplomacy. Okay. I think the term influence, okay, I get it. I guess that's just semantics. Diplomacy, I'm just used to that, but influence is fine, I guess. Or diplomatic influence. That's maybe a little too wordy. Anyway. And its reach on the global stage. It is generated primarily from your rank. Great powers have more influence than major powers and so on. So we have got great and major. So instead of before we had great and secondary. So I wonder if you have major and then secondary and tertiary and so on. Maybe there are more ranks to powers this time. And is used to support ongoing diplomatic actions and pacts such as improving relations, alliances, trade deals, subjects, and so on. Overall, the purpose of influence is to force players to make interesting choices about which foreign countries they want to build strong diplomatic relationships with. Okay, so we've got 530 here in Sweden. Effect from 100% or more excess means plus 50% threat decay. Interesting. So this comes from base value, minor power, plus 200 for ruler trait ambitious, plus 10% from landowners, family ties. The usage, so right now, improving relations with Prussia is costing 300, and the personal union with Norway is minus 50. All right, so that's all for it today. Next week, as I cover something, yet another topic that's fundamental to Victoria 3, buildings. Unfortunately, I won't be here next week because I'm going to be traveling for work, and then I'm going to be on vacation, so I'll be gone for the next 2 weeks. So I will do a big Dev Diary roundup then in about 3 weeks' time, where I cover a bunch of these, but you'll probably see them through in a bunch of other channels. But I'll still do it because I need to get caught up on news. So, yeah, I mean, they said there's no mana. This feels mana-esque, but you have pops. The mechanics of this, it reminds me a lot of Stellaris. A lot, because you have pops, you have ruler traits that influence things, you have these, currencies here that are influenced by things that you do, buildings, jobs, laws, tech, things like that. So it's feeling very Stellaris mechanics, personally. Let me know your thoughts below. Maybe you haven't played Stellaris. I have. I actually played quite a bit of it just recently, so it feels very fresh in my memory, and this feels very Stellaris, which is fine. I think Stellaris mechanics are fantastic. and translating that into the Victorian age, I think could work, because you're combining the pops mechanic with ruler trait mechanics, and then these capacities or currencies, whatever you want to call it. Makes sense. Makes sense. All right, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. As always, comments and likes and views are greatly appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe if you're new to not miss out on any Victoria 3 content or anything else here on the channel. Until next time, I'm Realm Builder Guy, and I will talk to you soon.